outage in your area.
All right. Of course, monsoon storms have been firing up all across the state, but the main issue for us here in the valley has been dust. We have a dust storm warning in effect right now for Maricopa County.
Let's go out live to Chase Golightly. He continues his coverage live at Val Vista and Williamsfield Road in Santan Valley. Chase?
Mark Rebe, that wind is definitely not letting up, and you can see what's coming with it. We can actually feel that wind picking up right now and creating a wall of dust, making it our way, all coming from this farmland right here. Now, we are closer to Queen Creek Road and Val Vista, and you can see these drivers are just trying to go through this dust as it's continually pushing west from east to west right now. Those winds, again, have been relentless for basically the past hour when we first got that dust warning alert. Again, that was about an hour ago. So people are just trying to be cautious out here. Again, if you find yourself driving behind the wheel and caught in one of these dust storms, you are encouraged just to pull off to the side of the road, turn off your lights, and wait it out. You definitely don't want to be driving through this. You don't know what other drivers will also be experiencing with this. Now, with these strong wind gusts, we haven't seen anything, you can probably hear through the microphone, anything too crazy of trees getting knocked down, but we're definitely seeing parts of palm trees getting torn off. We're seeing leaves, small branches getting torn off, and it really is just relentless. I'm glad that I have these dust goggles that our photographer was kind enough to lend me right now. He's just barreling through that dust. The other thing is that I'm actually feeling slight raindrops starting to come down right now. Not a lot of rain. I've been feeling a few sprinkles here and there as that wind starts to pick up. We're also, I really feel a temperature drop right now with those strong winds. Again, about 30 minutes ago, it was still very hot with those winds. It feels like things are cooling down, which is maybe a silver lining to all of this. But again, we are hoping for some more rain here in the valley. Of course, we know that we all need it. But again, if you're out on the roads, just be sure to be careful. Try to stay inside right now because that visibility can really change in an instant where you can't even see 50 feet ahead of you. Of course, we'll be staying out here and seeing what else is. I just saw some lightning actually off to the east right now, so maybe some more rain is making its way over here. Of course, we'll be sure to keep you updated as we learn more. But for now, we're in South Gilbert. Chase Golightly, 12 News.
Yeah, Chase, it always makes me nervous when I see the street signs moving a little bit too much. I'm like, okay, whoa, what is going to happen?
Palm trees
and
also,
the palm trees, yeah. And you know, those rural areas really get it harder because they've got all that open, you know, farmland.
Ag land.
Yeah, agriculture land. So there's a lot of dust to be kicked up there. All right, we continue our coverage right now with Gabriella Becerra. She is live where it looks like it's not quite as bad where Chase was. Gabby, where are you and what does it look like?
Hey, Kariba, we're at 16th Street in Washington right now. Definitely not as bad as what Chase is seeing further south, but the wind is really starting to pick up here. I want to show you kind of what we're seeing out to the south. Right there, you can see cloudy skies, very hazy. We can't even see South Mountain from where we're standing, which we normally would be able to see. Again, the wind just really picking up, blowing the trees around, but not too bad. You know, we haven't seen much of an impact out here besides some blowing leaves, some blowing dust. I could feel some of that dust hitting my face, but as you look over to the north, you can see that clear skies, not even you can see the sun flying through, shining through, so nowhere near as bad it is. But now as I'm talking, it really is starting to pick up here where we're standing. The visibility, though, is still pretty good. You can see people on the roads, no problem kind of seeing just in front of us. And then down towards Chase Field where Rachel was earlier, you can see it is a little bit hazy out that way, but overall, we can feel the blowing dust just standing out here, but it doesn't seem like it's too much of a problem for drivers on the road right now. Just that wind really starting to pick up and blowing loose items around. But we'll toss it back to you
Gabby, thank you so much for that. So you see what's happening there on the ground. Let's complete the picture with the radar. Always kind of helps to put everything in perspective. We're going to head over to meteorologist Chris Dunn.
And Chris, we saw Chase out there really getting pounded in the East Valley in Santan. And he said he also saw some lightning. What's the latest with that part of the storm?
Yeah, well, we've had storms all around the valley, and especially when you get to some of the outer fringe areas, you have a lot of open farmland. And if it's unplowed or if it's recently plowed, you have a lot of loose dirt. We have a lot of loose dirt anyway in the desert, but when these storms collapse around the valley off in the distance, it sends out that big rush of wind, and you have a sudden gust of wind over open land. It picks up a lot of dust, and so in some spots it can be quite dusty and quite nasty out there. This is the East Valley. And looking towards the east, you can kind of make out the Superstition Mountains off in the distance and some of those dark storm clouds. Mark, you mentioned some of the lightning. We do have the lightning plot on this radar data, and you can see the little lightning symbols along with anything that's typically red on this is usually a pretty intense rain shaft or a rain shower. And with this type of a setup, we do have a lot of lightning out there. So lightning is always a concern with thunderstorms. And just in the last 20 minutes or so, watch what happens. I pointed this out like an hour or two ago, that a lot of times new storms initiate on these outflow boundaries. So this thin green line here coming out from across, say, Fountain Hills and areas to the north, Cave Creek. And as it meets up with this other storm down here to the south, things really blowing up from Maricopa to Casa Grande, just south of the Loop 202 in the Southeast Valley. So that is where we're really starting to see things expanding as far as the rain potential and some gusty winds. The blowing dust advisory and the dust storm warning, the dust storm warning is now expired at 6:45. Another blowing dust advisory. This was just reissued or extended until 7 o'clock. And you can see this is the radar site here, Mesa Gateway Airport. That's where the radar is located. And things really starting to blossom and blow up here. Just to the southeast of Sun Lakes, south of Chandler. It's all, again, south of the Loop 202, which is right here. So if you live in that area, watch for that to expand from the south, moving up to the north as it really starts to bubble up around here. Severe thunderstorm warning until 7:15. This is down far southern Pinal County. This is out to the southwest of Casa Grande, but there's a lot of rain down here, and that's trying to bubble up and move in our direction. So we still have a lot of action around us that's yet to get into the valley. Another severe thunderstorm warning out over the western deserts. This is I-10 as you're heading out towards the Colorado River. That one is until 7:30, and another severe thunderstorm warning near Lake Havasu City for additional storms up there. So again, it's all around the valley, not necessarily in the valley just yet, but things are really starting to come together. We have convergence in the lower levels of the atmosphere, and when the winds converge, the winds can't go through each other and can't go down, so it forces everything up and it builds up into these new thunderstorms. So that's what we're seeing happening, and we will continue to see that evolve and develop over the valley through about 11 o'clock tonight or so. Weather impact alert in effect until 11 o'clock because of these showers and thunderstorms that are developing and redeveloping the areas of blowing dust that we've been showing you live here on the air. A few downpours, of course, the dangerous lightning that we have out there. And some of those downpours have been producing some flash flooding situations where you have a normally dry wash. You get a lot of rain and it's all draining off in one area. That could pose a problem. So be safe out there if you're out there. And also the nice side effect that I think that Chase mentioned is the temperature drop. Well, we're at 95 degrees in Phoenix right now. It was 108 today, 109 for the high, 90 at Casa Grande, only 75 in Tucson, and 63 degrees in Payson, Flagstaff. You are at 64 degrees. I'll have another update and the rest of your forecast coming up later in our coverage. Back to you guys.
Thank you. And our crews are out all across the valley as we cover this storm minute by minute.
Yeah, let's check in with Crystal Long. She is live in Chandler. Crystal, what's the latest?
Well, since our last hit, we were already starting to taste and crunch dust in our mouth, and conditions have only continued to deteriorate here at I-10 in Queen Creek. So we are inside the car safely at a pull-off far from the road, and you could see how you can't find any blue skies. It is all completely blotted out with thick dust. We're also next to a field that you could see how the winds are just whipping through the greens, and even just sitting in this parked car, we could feel the shove of the strong winds and just continuing to fill the sky. See that sky fill up with dirt. And that's the other thing, is air quality is just garbage right now. So if staying off the roads because visibility is next to nothing in some spots isn't enough for you, you don't want to step outside of your car because the air quality is continuing to get tainted by all this dust. So don't be surprised if we're dealing with air quality issues that linger into tomorrow. And in the meantime, this dust storm warning here that reaches out to us here at Queen Creek Road is still ongoing at this time for about another half hour. But live in Chandler, I'm going to send it back to you guys now.